Let's cross now to Sydney and catch up with Deloitte Access economist Chris Richardson to talk about this and the China relationship. Good to talk to you again, Chris. Tell us about the impact of borders. We've seen it here and heard about it today in this community, in the Tweed and the Gold Coast, but around the country it must have been such a handbrake on growth, on jobs and on profits.
Oh, look, it has had a big impact and a notable negative for economies. To be fair, it has helped on the health side of things, so there is a genuine balance. I don't mind that there were border closures, but they needed to be better calibrated than they have been. There have been times when COVID was notably dangerous and we needed closed borders. Victoria was very good and acted fast to close its own borders, for example. That was the right thing to do. But by and large, we have used that tool a little too much and a little too heavily because the politics of it are great. You know, safety, people understand that immediately, and they're perhaps not quite as good at seeing the cost to jobs that comes alongside it. And
I think you're absolutely right.
That balance right is tricky.
Absolutely, and I hope we'd learn some lessons, because you're absolutely right. Nobody would begrudge states shutting down people coming in from Victoria when they had lost control of the virus. But we need to do this better. This virus will be around for a long while. We'll see what happens with the vaccine, but there'll be other threats like this. Tell us then, Chris, what you think today's announcement, the practical implementation here on the Queensland-New South Wales border, but then, of course, the good news about Western Australia today week. What sort of a fillip is this? What sort of a boost is this for the economy going into Christmas and the New Year?
It is very good news. And indeed, you know, we can get lost in the detail. If you look at where Australia is at the moment, we've handled this virus very well on those twin battles, you know, health and business, lives and livelihoods. Very few other nations around the world have done this as well as we have. A key missing element is these state borders opening that allows us to win more jobs back. Spectacular success already on that front. The effective unemployment rate, the thing that Treasury and the Reserve Bank were worried would be 10% or higher, is already at 7.5% and falling as state borders open.
Now, Chris, tell us about the relationship with China, such a crucial economic relationship for Australia, going through such a difficult time at the moment. We know there's 60-odd coal ships anchored off China. They can't unload their coal, their Australian coal. That doesn't really affect any of us day to day in terms of our hip pocket. We know Chinese students can't come in, of course, because of the quarantine and coronavirus. But tell us how the trouble, the trade sanctions, the diplomatic strife between Australia and China can or could affect all of us economically in the months and years to come.
And we're watching this very closely. China and Australia are almost perfect economic partners. We have what they need, they have what we need. That's why trade has risen so enormously over the years. And across the period, you know, so right now things are very tricky, but they've been getting politically tricky for a while. Believe it or not, though, since early 2017, Australian exports to China have doubled, imports up by about 30%. So politics is definitely getting in the way of some things at the moment. The economics, the underlying economics, remains a positive for trade if the politics stays out of it.
Yeah, it's a very worrying situation, and cool heads are required. Thanks for joining us, Chris. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Chris.